Test, test.
What's going on? I hear you.
I'm showing sound levels. Chat's saying they don't hear us, but I have full sound levels. I'm toggling it. I'm toggling it. Tell you after last stream. Oh my goodness. Oh, so that was a big mute. So you guys missed all of that. That's a great way to start things off. That's just...
Oh, it was mute?
That's how you know
No.
we're live, Arshak. Unbelievable.
All right.
I don't get it.
Okay.
It's still, everything was good. I'm in my own skin here right now, too. I'm back home in what's comfortable, and everything was going fine. I'm thinking OBS may have had a little bit of a hiccup there. Nonetheless, my friends, thank you for joining us. We'll hit the restart button. My name's Jackson Beard, just some strange guy with a beard and somebody who doesn't know how to work OBS, it appears. I'm joined this week by a very special guest, our own Arshak, the lead. I'm totally off foot now. Our lead designer, and who is largely responsible for the current greatness the game is in right now, with all the work that's gone into the Labrador, the Retriever, and you know everything recently too, Arshak. It's just such a pleasure to have you here and to be able to talk to folks. Everybody say hi to Arshak. We already said hi to you. You're just not aware of this yet.
Second hi. Hello, guys. Second breakfast.
Second breakfast is right. I'll take a second lunch too if we could. Holy. Okay, before we go too far, I've seen a lot of folks asking about the winners on the Glean contest. It was a really fun way to welcome in this new release. They are listed on the website. I don't have that in front of me. That's all done through the website. If you have one, you will be notified via email. They'll reach out to you. In fact, you should have already received those emails. I did confirm before stream that everything was all finalized to the lead up and good to go. So congratulations to all the winners. There was a ton of participation. But there's a lot of excitement around this release. This has been one of the community's most requested asks long since before Reventuli, which was surprising because, well, there was still really good foul hunting. But now here we are. It's in game. I've seen everybody around the community. There's been a lot of excitement. I don't see any issues. If you do, in fact, have or encounter any issues, please let us know via Discord in the bug reporting section. You can submit a ticket as well, of course, but everything's looking really smooth. That makes us very happy. Arshak, okay, we've hit the reset, buddy. How the heck are you? Thank you for joining me, my friend. It's great to have you back.
I am hyped. I am stoked. I am happy. I am excited to see what you guys think. As I was saying, I mean, we really get excited in the team when we see you guys get excited. That's basically why we do what we do. We do watch Discord. We do watch YouTube. We watch every social media we can to basically, especially close to one of these releases. We're like, okay, what do people think? Do we miss anything? Is it cool? Is it nice? Are they happy? So I am happy, and it seems people are happy. So that makes me, extra happy. I'm looking a bit out of focus. Am I in focus?
Yeah, you're in focus.
I'm in focus. All right, nice.
You're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good. That could just be the stream replay on your end. That's quite possible. And also depending where you're watching. I find in my location, the Twitch quality is always a little better than the YouTube picture-wise. Don't know if that'll help you.
All right. It's a little fuzzy, somebody's saying, but that's okay. I'm okay with that.
That's the best I can get at the moment, so we're looking good. You're good, bud. Awesome, MD. Good to hear that. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you guys all here. Good to see all of the great jobs going out to the devs here. Yeah, trophy screen smoother as well. There's actually been lots of fixes that come with every update. This one is no different. I would urge you to check out our website, go through the patch notes there, and take a look, and you'll get a chance to see exactly what was done. I'm not going to go through all of the bug fixes, because our QA is always out there crushing things. But I do want to talk about, we'll lead through some things, but first, let's talk about the new hunting dog, the Labrador Retriever. Now, Arshak, before we go into any nitty gritties and we start looking at maybe some of the traits and some of your favorite things maybe about the dog, is there anything you want to talk about the dog? Any real big hills to climb in bringing this to the folks? Because from my perspective, looks like he just pushed a button and it appeared.
Yeah, we have a create dog button. We're just very careful with when we press it. We just don't want to have too many dogs. You know, that'd be... I don't know. Would that be boring? I think that'd be great.
I mean, I'm a
no,
dog
but
guy.
I mean, I have a dog of my own. So I mean, dogs are in my life, around my life, and we were thinking about dogs a lot. So I worked on the Bloodhound. I worked on this dog. So I've been working with dogs, yeah, as I said, a long time. During our development time, we've tried a lot of different ways of like making the dog work. Should it only find stuff in front of you? How far out should it run? We also like, could it not swim? Could it swim? How should it swim? Like we want to bring it. So we always have this idea of a hunting fantasy. We want to remove stuff that is annoying parts of hunting fantasies, like going out freezing, that might be annoying. Getting wet socks, that might be annoying. Getting too many licenses, too much paperwork, that might be annoying. So we try to remove all those things, and that also applies to the dog. Like luckily you don't need to feed it. I don't know, maybe some people might think that's really fun, but we don't need to do it in our game. But we focus on what makes the dog engaging, fun, a good utility to, like, you feel it actually adds to your hunting experience. And basically that's how we round out the product and make sure that you guys get what you want and makes your hunting experience situationally more fun.
It's really cool to hear you talking about that, and it's got to be difficult in what you do give and what you don't, because we can play with the dog and we can reward the dog, stuff that you worked on as well with the Bloodhound, etc. But seeing it evolve to where it's at, and like the dog swimming, and it's just the different animations that come from it, the different behaviors between the two. Like I even see the difference in the movements and the animations, and I think you guys have done a pretty bang up job with this little guy right here. It's pretty cool. It really is.
Yeah, if you guys Google, I don't know if you've seen that. Maybe people don't remember, but there's a behind the scenes video about the mocapping for the dogs. If anybody wants to take a look at that, it's a good refresher about like the work that goes into making a dog and animation specifically. So if you basically Google Expansive World Bloodhound BTS behind the scenes, you'll get a cool surprise, and also you'll see a 2-year-old younger me working on the dog back then. But yeah, back to swimming. You were talking about swimming. Big challenge for us making the dog be able to swim. Like we had ups and downs, nervousness, and I mean we really wanted to bring a swimming dog to you guys, but it was an interesting challenge. I'm going to use the word interesting, but what I mean is dreadful. Because basically we had to re-engineer a lot of the game to make sure animals like understood what water is, and it's not just one reserve, it's like all of the reserves, right? So yeah, right. I'd like to give a big applause to our programmers who made that happen.
And I met a lot of those programmers when I was there in Stockholm, and see what they were working on and how they go through it. Someday it'd be really cool to have that behind the scenes look here live on stream. Got to make that happen, Arshak. That's something people would love to see. I'm actually showing that video right now of the dog, and I urge you guys to go check us out. I know a lot of our core community is watching us. There you are right there.
I kind of look like Kramer, don't you think?
That's okay. At least you don't look like a Sasquatch. I get that resemblance often. But this was really interesting to me. I can't tell you how many times I've watched this, and seeing you guys here with these suits on, getting that movement. This explains why it looks so accurate and so true to form. There's got to be a challenge in that, and the biggest challenge must be out walking up and down the streets in those suits, like it's on the street.
I mean, these guys with their dogs, I mean, it's impressive, because I mean, my dog does not do what I tell it to do. It's I mean, can you look it's incredible. I was watching this and going like, wow, I need to work a lot more with my dog, because when you're doing these mocaps, usually you have to reset. Like you do like let's say you walk to the 45 degrees to the left or 45 degrees to the right. You need to reset afterwards so that I'm not an animator, but you need to reset to make it work correctly. But how do you tell a dog to reset, to go back to where it was exactly? It's very difficult. So all these small animations where like the dog is starting from base and then moving 45 degrees to the right and then starts running, or moving 45 degrees to the right and starts walking, or even sneaking, all these, like, it's really hard to to tell by just looking at the dog, but all these different movements or animations that have been mocapped, and then the animation teams have worked on them to make them work, and some of them were not mocapped or handmade to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So there's a lot of animation, blood, sweat, tears, a lot of code, animation code that makes the dog work in a natural way. And
this is the perfect conversation right now to have over where this is at in this video, because they're literally showing a lot of this and how that the mocap, my friends, is motion capture. So you keep up with the terms, seeing how it all came together. It's really interesting. So if I may ask, because we're sitting looking at the Bloodhound. This is when the Bloodhound came out. I guess, you know, the Retriever's going to have their own motion capture needed, aren't they? Like, you would have had to do all this again, wouldn't you?
We knew that that's going to be a challenge, because bloodhounds, there are not a lot of bloodhounds in Sweden. We actually did a lot of research to try to find a bloodhound to mocap, but we actually didn't. So the bloodhound is actually not mocap. This is maybe secret information behind the scenes, but I'm going to give it to you honestly. The bloodhound was not. You saw the dogs that we mocap, by the way, so it's not really secret. Those are the dogs that we mocapped. But to make them feel heavier and feel like a bloodhound, that's when the animation, the team comes in and does their work to make it like more heavier, more what's the word in English? Like it's hunched over more, like the bloodhound typical walking movements.
Right.
So we mocap 2 different dogs, and then we basically with the artistic eyes of the animators make them work in different ways. So the base animation is the same, but then we magically, or not magically, what's work make them work for different types of breeds.
Excellent. Sir, I see Patricia sending me messages. You're muted. Just making sure. I always have to keep one eye on the work thing, especially when I do an interview, in case I ask a tough question. And wow, so I think that they've really come together quite nicely. And if you guys are just tuning in, the Retriever released today. We are joined by our lead creator, our lead designer, the big man on campus, Arshak, who's just given us a little bit of insight on what went into creating the newest companion here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. It's nice to be able to give you guys a little bit of insight. You know, we talk about it all so much, and you'll often hear me mention a lot of these folks, like Arshak for one. Not that I'm name dropping, but I guess I kind of am. In my world, these are the rock stars, right? But I know that's the same for a lot of you. So, you know, seeing this come from inception, all through development and to completion, and now on release, and to be sitting here right now with the dog in front of me, I just absolutely shot one, and she ran over and she picked it up and she brought it back, and you know, I don't want to say it's game changing, but it kind of is. And I'm sure you have to consider these things when you make it. So for instance, now I'm sitting in a blind. I can sit here all day and just bring in every goose, and they'll bring them all back to the blind. I could jump down, boom, boom, boom. This saves so much time. And I'm sure there's considerations for this when you're considering what you're going to create, what sort of addition you want to add to the game. This could almost be considered a quality of life move. As fun as it is, this saves so much time for our players. Maybe I'm just rambling on things here, but are these things that you would have to consider as a designer? Like, is it taking away from any core features by retrieving it? But I mean, honestly, it's adding to it.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, yeah, we do consider that. We do consider, are we adding or removing our core features? Are we adding or removing to the joy of playing the game? We also think, does it break anything else? Do we, because I mean, there is a tempo to the game. I mean, you know, the pauses between the action is a lot of where our game shines, right? The not finding the animal you're looking for and then finding it. Because if we just gave you everything on a smorgasbord, it wouldn't be that interesting. True. So absolutely, we do think of like the how it affects the game. Now, luckily, the Retriever has less of an impact broadly. I might go into too much technical stuff here and stop me if I do. But since it's kind of more or less only connected to class 1 animals, the big effect of how the retriever is game altering is situational. That's why I use the word situational. So for class 1 animals, it's a game changer. And we make sure that that game change is positive. It doesn't break anything else. It doesn't make, because you still have to find the animals, right? You still have to make sure they're coming to you. You still have to make sure you're at the right spot. You have your decoys out, your collars out, so everything. We make sure that everything is still fulfilled, and then we try to make it like game changing or change how you would play it. You don't always need it, but it helps you. Like there are circumstances where the retriever might be like, nah, I don't need it here. I don't really need it, and that's fine. That's what we want to create. It would be boring if we gave you a DLC and then everything in the game just is easier, like a cheat button, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure people might enjoy that the first 10 minutes or maybe 1 hour or maybe even 1 week. But afterwards, it would sour them to the game. So that's where the balancing comes in, and where we try to make sure that the game is interesting long term. 7 more years.
It's wild to think we're going on lucky number 7. Just crazy. Yep. Well, I can tell you, it's no secret. I was a player first before coming to Expansive Worlds, and one of the things I especially felt it since Reventuli, was the need for a retriever. Not just a want, a need. And you guys have filled that need. You really have, because it's working, dare I say, flawlessly as he runs in circles. This is why I called her Dizzy. It's named after my dog at home. It seems very apt. Mine does the same thing. But it's really filled that spot. And now because I can't begin to tell you how many, doing what I'm doing right now, this is why I came to goose hunting. I lost so many kills. I probably could have bought an in-game car if we had one for sale for the amount of money that I was just never able to find. They would, you drop them too far out with the 22. Mm-hmm. Don't be upset with me for using the 22. I get that often, but people know what I'm saying right now. It's very much a thing. So I think that this is a great addition. I can't wait to see what the community gets up to. I know you're like myself. You love to watch the Discord and see what they're all doing. But some of it is it's just too entertaining.
Yeah, no, I see somebody, John Nerek, saying that could the dog's howl become a wolf caller? Interestingly enough, we've actually discussed that. Maybe in the future it might be there. It's not right now, but I mean, we've discussed it. We liked it. We'll see.
Wow, you're gonna get people's hopes up here, including mine. There is some fun.
I'm gonna make it.
You could do the multiplayer with your dogs, getting them together with the howling. Right?
Yes, exactly.
A nice touch. Well, I think maybe it's a good time to talk about some of the traits, and because some of them are self-explanatory, but I'm sure you could probably offer a little bit of insight, and maybe people are going to pick up on something they hadn't considered. I was going to shoot something. They're all just teasing me flying around here. Let's take a look at these traits and let's go over it a little bit. This has got to be a really difficult part, Arshak. I can only imagine how hard it is to decide, first off, what skills you give the dog, because that's going to affect its hunt and how it plays well with its owners. But also, aside from that, what skills, what ties into something you would expect from a dog? This is where I absolutely tip my hat to you guys and the creativity that shines through, and the way they differentiate between the two. So looking at the traits on the Labrador, let's just start with level 5. You want to chit chat about some of these?
Of course. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the top field is things connected to the companion, like the dog being your friend. Basically, it's basic dogness, which is the loving, the bonds. Yeah, that's dogness of the dog.
We need to coin that.
The bond. Yeah, the 6th sense of its sensing animals that are about to spook. Its howl. It's the max focus, increasing focus, and that stuff. And the bottom one is its retriever traits. Maybe that is. I don't know if people notice that, but that's the case, right? So you're basically making your dog a better dog, or you're making the dog a better retriever dog. And that comes in again to the situational type of behavior, how you play with the dog. Are you the type of player where you're basically sitting in a stand shooting about a bunch of geese or whatever, and you want the dog to be able to pick up a lot of stuff? then maybe you're not very interested in how far it can run. Maybe you basically know that, yeah, I'm using this weapon. It has a range of 75 meters or whatever. So range is not that important for me. I just wanted to have a high uptime, basically. So either my bond is important or my max focus is important. I just want to make sure that the dog is always ready to go, because I'm going to be using it over and over and over again. You might not be that type of player. You might be the type of player that you walk around and you see something in the distance and you want to shoot that dog. So you're not really very fussed about how often you can use it. You want to make sure that when I use it, it does what I want, right? It runs further out. It can carry the heavier animals, which is still class 1, but the heavier animals. In that case, you might take other traits. So it's all, again, situational. And we do look at what people have chosen for the old dog, the bloodhound, to make sure that we don't skew it to one where one is super picked, super important, because we do want it to be situational, where something is for everybody, and like there's something for everybody in there. And yeah, it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult, because we do have a bunch of players, and players play the game differently. There are trends in how you play over time. So it is basically, I close my eyes, I throw a dart at the table and see what I hit, and that's what I choose. That's how the game gets made.
You know, there's one that I find is extremely juicy in there, and I know a lot of folks noticed it when I showed the dog off for the first time. And that was that our dog will have the chance to retrieve arrows. That's a very interesting choice, because that, I can tell you, will be greatly appreciated by our bow hunters.
Yes.
What a neat addition. I love that you guys, it's almost a playful addition, you know, in a sense. Adding that in there, I love to see it. I love to see it.
Yes, super curious. What does chat think about that? Because it was back and forth if we wanted that. Because again, like, we try to see how many people use the bows, how popular is that, how many, because you also have to have the recycle trait, right? It's a bunch of things that go like, okay, we have this trait, the quiver trait, and oh, is it still called trick? I'm not sure. It's still called quiver. Can you check?
It is called quiver. Yes. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
My documents aren't not up to date. Yeah, nice. All right. Yeah. So basically, I have this on my left hand, and I have another trait in my right hand. So which one do we choose? It's a difficult choice. This time, playfulness won out. So I agree with you. It is a playful choice, and I hope people like it.
I personally, this really is a tough one. The level 10, I just know is going to be a very, which way do we go for a lot of players? Because as you say, like, the sixth sense that's big. Having a higher chance of sensing when an animal's about to be spooked. We hang on a lot of times those last seconds, you know, and we just want that one more step. We want that one more flap of the wing, just a little closer. But if you're bow hunting, you just can't not take quiver. There's just something about that. It really is. But adding other things in here as well, going from the playful, the howl, which is very cool. I'd love to hear them howl. But the dog running further away in its search. Now, I know it's not something you're going to want to say in exact distance to what, you know, people can expect their dogs to run. But, you know, people are assuming that, like, this number will increase as levels go up, or maybe it's affected by how happy the dog is and such. Anything you want to comment on that?
Yes. So I'm gonna be just straight. The dog's distance doesn't change with level. It's gonna run what it runs, and that's why it's because we wanted the player to kind of get a sense for your cooperation with the dog. If it changes, you'll be like, I don't know, is it gonna work in this distance? Do I have to move up a couple of meters and do it again? And the dog is like basically running up, and then there's maybe, I don't know, like 5 meters, and it doesn't pick up what you want it to pick. You have to move 5 meters and then call it again. I didn't like that idea. So basically the dog will always run the distance it runs, and then you can supplement or make it run additionally with the traits. So once you get a feel for how far your dog runs, that's how it's going to run. and also it's balanced with the weapons you use and stuff like that. So hopefully at level 1 you're going to be happy with it, how far it runs. You're not going to be disappointed. But if you again are a long shot, you want to shoot those, distant animals, you don't want to risk scaring them, or what type of hunter you are, if you want to make sure that you can do that, then basically, yeah, bold is interesting for you, and also retriever is interesting for you.
Now, something else, Arshak, and I gotta say, low key, I know this was one of the big requests that we'd heard since the Bloodhound came out. The decision to add the ability to change your doggo's name. I know that is greatly appreciated by our community. It's those little customizations. But wait, there's more. Now, you guys added something that I didn't expect to see. We can now retire our dogs, correct?
Correct, you can. This is actually, I mean, we didn't originally plan to do that, but we did. This is, yeah, well, I guess maybe fun and embarrassing, also like more fun than embarrassing perhaps, but we noticed that when people were naming their first dog, they had problems doing that, and like people basically named their dog Name My Dog, and then they were kind of upset because of that, because like it didn't work the way we wanted to do. So we're like, oh yeah, we have to help people out here. I mean, we can't expect them to delete their dog and just create a new dog. So I mean, yeah, you can rename, you can retire if like you took choices you didn't like. You can respec as well, right? So hopefully now we've covered all the bases in quality of life, so that people basically don't make mistakes, or even they can experiment with different things to make sure the dog is named what they want and functions the way they want.
That is fantastic. In fact, you just touched on the next one I was going to bring up, and that was the fellow. Being able to respec your dog now.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's huge, because I actually, when the Bloodhound first came out, I remember speaking with a number of folks who were, I've taken the wrong trait, and now I got to go and get another 45,000 credits to buy a new dog and level it from the beginning. No. But wait, there's more. You can now fully respec. Of course, you don't get those points back. You have to level it again, correct?
No, you get the points.
Oh, you do get the points. So you spend the money, you get the points. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. When sorry, that's what I read. When we retire the dog, you don't get anything back. The dog is simply retired.
Yes. Right. That is basically. We didn't want to say delete a dog. That felt too harsh. Yeah. So yes.
Take the dog out behind the barn.
Exactly. It's retired. It's old. It needs. I mean, it's lived its doggy years. It's yeah.
Some people probably cringed when I said that. Don't worry, no dogs were hurt in the making of this stream. In fact, a huge doggo fan here. I'm so excited to get this retriever. I want to go through, actually, if we can. I came back to my tent here. Now, I'd love to go into the kennel and take a look at my dog. So, if I were to buy a new dog right now, as you guys have seen, we have the male and the female, but I think this was probably one of the most fun parts of last stream was we purchased one dog of every single fur variety. Now, I can't do that now because I'm on my retail account, and this is one of the saves where I don't have much into it, so I don't have a lot of money, so obviously I'm not going to spend all that. But we got to highlight all the different fur types. You guys really went to town with this. You've added quite a few options here. Do you have a personal favorite?
Silver is my personal favorite.
Silver was nice. I almost went with silver when I made Disney here. I was looking for the brindle. I know you don't get brindle really in labs. That's what my boxer is. She's a brindle. But that's silver. I think I would almost say the chocolate, I think, might be my favorite.
Yeah.
But that's
Fox Red is also, I like that one as well.
The silver and charcoal were my close ones. Oh, Fox Red is quite nice. Yes. I love it. What do you think, chat? Come on, I know there's a lot of Labradors out in the populace in the world today. And I'm willing to bet there's more than a few in our community. I would love it if you shared in the off-topic chat in our Discord. Do we still have a pet channel? At the very least, tag me with it. Let me see your doggos. If you've got a retriever especially, I want to see just, man, how close they are to here, because I'll tell you, where is it? The Champagne right there. This was my buddy's dog growing up, and it's just great to see. It's great to see. We developed such a close bond with our dogs IRL, and I know a lot of us, Arshak, have developed bonds with our dogs, our companions here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, and you guys have just given us a whole other avenue, another full set of and I say set because look at all these fur types, of possibilities. So again, not trying to get sappy, but seriously, huge round of applause. We appreciate everything you guys are doing for this game. It's more than a game for a lot of folks. I can say that with a certainty. Man, so
thank you for enjoying it. I mean, that's weird way of putting it, but I mean, you guys make it for us. I mean, we're not doing this in a vacuum. We are totally dependent on you guys. We do watch. I mean, I read the Discord. I read everything. When I read things that are negative, I mean, naturally I get sad, but we're trying to do better. We're trying to fix stuff. We're trying to, it's always a balance of trying to fix stuff versus trying to bring you new stuff. Because if we focus too much on fixing old stuff, then people go like, well, where's the new stuff? And we do new stuff and people are like, well, why don't you fix the old stuff? So, I mean, it's always a knife edge. We're trying to, make people happy. We get happy when you guys are happy. I've probably said that too many times, but yeah, I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying this. Really super happy.
Well said. Well said. Well said. I'm always telling these folks what drives our team and seeing the interaction, the feedback, and all types of feedback.
Absolutely.
It's great, because we want to hear when we've done right, but we also want to hear if you want something different. Like this is the stuff that when I say the power of community, I mean it, my friends. It's why we're looking at this dog right now. Dogs, period, in the first place. There's got to be a lot of challenges creating a dog compared to creating a reserve. I know there'd be, all the disciplines on the team all have their own jobs to do, but there must really be some big challenges to that dog. And we've already touched base on that, but I just, if you have anything you'd like to add there, any big uphill climbs, was there any big hurdles, any real challenges that stand out in your mind? Because I know it's been quite the process.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything. I mean, the thing is, like, making a reserve is we've kind of like we're dialed into making reserves. Although every new reserve has new challenges, new things we need to think about, it's still kind of dialed in. We have the team set up properly. Making a dog, I mean, we've done dogs before, but it's like it's a brand new beast. We kind of have to realign ourselves, rethink in a new ways. And as soon as you add something new to the game, it kind of expands the whole. Like, you might, as a player, you might think, well, they're adding a dog, and a dog is a dog, and there's no real connection to anything else. But I mean, I have documents of edge cases that are, miles wide, long, tall. Like, what happens if you do this and you have a dog? What happens if the bloodhound does this and you have a retriever? Like, everything needs to mesh together in a way that feels reasonable. So every new addition, it's like multiplication. It's not addition. Like, we add something and everything else expands. And that's interesting. That's why we like bringing these things to the game, right? That's what you guys enjoy, when one thing kind of changes everything else. A game changer, it's called. But I mean, that's it's also a game changer for us, right? Everything, we have to recheck everything. So yeah, a lot of new, just as we said, the swimming, like making sure the dog works in water, it looks good in water, it jumps, it feels natural. Thinking about how the slopes are going into water. Again, I'm getting technical, but if a slope is too high versus too low, and the dog is kind of like, is it in water? Is it not in water? Or if it's a ledge where it can jump into water, but can it get out of the water? Like, if it's a bit of a ledge and the edge of the water is lower than the actual land mass, right? Kind of like a cliff. That's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't need to be a big cliff, just a small cliff. So every these things have to be thought through, and like we brainstorm it on whiteboards and everything. And yeah, so it is a big challenge. It is a lot of work. It is fulfilling when it works. It's also stressful when it doesn't. It's not just like, we make X, it works. We make Z, it works, and that everything works. we add stuff, and then stuff breaks. We go back, we try to fix it. It works better. Then we add something else. Then we need to re-look at stuff. Other things work. So yes, a lot of work, and that's why we get so happy when you guys like it. Naturally, if it was easy, if we had that dog button, then the payoff wouldn't be that big for us either, right? If like, okay, we press the button and people like it, all right, fine, I'll just go home and I don't really care. But since we do basically eat, sleep, dog for a long time, that's why it's so effectful for us when you guys get excited. And as Jack said, it's both the sour and the sweet. Like, constructive feedback is constructive feedback. If you don't like something, if you tell it and in a good way that we can understand what you're looking for or what you would have liked differently, we absolutely enjoy that as well. So it doesn't just have to be like positive things.
No, exactly. And I often tell our folks that too. It's how we deliver things in life. You know, I mean, you may not like everything we do. We certainly want to hear so we can improve it. But, you know, it's delivery. If it's not delivered well, we're probably not going to see it, if you catch my feeling.
Yeah.
Well, you pretty much covered a day in the life of the dev. I was going to ask you about it, but that's it. I mean, literally, it's eat, sleep, doggo, make game, fix game, work game. Like it's wild. And I have to say, when I was over there just recently, and I noticed this the time before as well, but I got to spend some time with our devs and I got to see them working. And you know, they love what they do. They're enjoying themselves. They're, hey, look at this. They're, you know, elbowing them who's sitting next to them. Look what we just did here. Look at this. Look at this. Like, you can see the passion. You can see that. And to have you here now with us, Arshak, kind of just talking a little bit about this, I mean, it just reaffirms what I already knew, but it really, I think, shows our community that, like, you know, the people making our game are loving what we're doing with the game. And I love to see that, because passion goes a far way. Right, and you're a passionate bunch. Man, speaking of passion,
we are. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, chat has been just going off, and we've just had so much to talk about. But I think it might be a good idea if I've seen some really good questions roll through. And guys, if you have some good questions you want to ask, you know, we can kind of get through some of those right now. Obviously, there's certain things that we can't talk about. We can't tell you what's on the roadmap, although Arshak and I were talking about that before stream there. And yes, they do have their development roadmap, but it's different from where we're able to share, as you guys know. So please try to keep the questions in line with something that we can answer, because you understand. Oh, let's see. Oh, interesting. Now, you can definitely take a look in here as well, Arshak, if you want to look at the chat.
Yep. I don't know if I'm lagging behind, though. Let's see. Can you give me like a hint to who?
I'm going to read a couple out here. Yeah.
Yes.
So while we're talking on the dog, Lacey Lilith says, have you considered putting a dog in as a puppy and you have to do everything with the training, etc., instead of just an adult? Ooh, that sounds extensive. What do you think of that one?
Yes, naturally, those are the things we talk about. Absolutely. It kind of comes back to the hunting fantasy, though. It's what you're describing is more a dog breeding fantasy, right? So I think that's super fun, but the question is, like, how does it fit into our game? How much work do you have to put into breeding, or not breeding, rearing the dog before you get to actually being able to hunt with it? Like a puppy. And the thing that also comes into that is when you expand too much. Like if you do have a hunting dog, naturally you have to raise it. But for us to be able to do everything, you want to do everything really good, right? So we would have to put extreme amounts of resources into just making the dog, like, you know, grow up. And what decisions do you make to make that fun for you? So yeah, the answer I have to give there is, like, we have to align ourselves with the hunting fantasy and always keep ourselves, like, eyes on the prize, where people that are playing a hunting game will get the most out of it. We are trying to give a little bit of that, like you're choosing how you raise your pup with the way you choose your traits, right? You're basically training it to be the type of dog you want, but we can't really go into puppy where like, you know, please don't poop inside house or listen to what I'm saying, because
a pooper
you
scooper
get
DLC. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. No, wait, no, I don't want to pick that up. Yeah, totally. I get it. That's a great answer. And I guess it's a little more in depth than you would expect in a game about hunting. But I mean, fair question, Lacey. Fair question.
Absolutely.
I see another one actually in regards to the dogs. Folks are asking, would you consider adding any other breeds for, say, the retrievers? I mean, maybe you couldn't on a bloodhound, or maybe you could. I'm not entirely sure. Is that a consideration for something maybe down the line? Tough one.
Everything is a consideration. That's the thing that makes it tough. It's not that we're going like, what should we do? We don't know what we should do, right? That's not the case. The case is we have a gazillion choices to make, right? It's about saying no and finding that yes, rather than like, we don't know what to do. So absolutely, we're thinking about more breeds. Could we do this? Could we do that? But I mean, we are a bunch of people, and we have, as everybody else, 24 hours a day, and we have to basically prioritize. So it's always a question of, not a question of, would we? Yes, we could. We would. It's just, are we going to choose exactly that one for the benefit of the whole player base? So
it all comes down to development time. I knew that was going to be your answer.
Yeah,
I did, but it's good for the folks to hear it from you, because they always hear this from me. So hearing it from our lead game designer, it adds a lot of weight to it, and I think they understand it, to be truthful. I think most of our community gets the need for making those right choices, because if you were to say, go to add another breed of dog, well, that would take away from, say, adding a new feature to the game, or etc. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. No, Jim Bar. I mean, I might have. It's possible. Didas, how you doing? Do the dogs make sounds scare animals? Now, I've actually already talked about this one, and I've let the cat out of the bag on this, as I've already had the inside skinny. But maybe you want to talk about
it? Yes. So, well, I don't want to say what have you said. Let's see what you said.
Well, when the Bloodhound came out, Troy had given us the little spoiler. Oh, I can't get that guy. He's too far. That, in fact, the Bloodhounds will interact with smaller species, smaller game, up to a certain size. We didn't specify what size it interacts up to. So I'd imagine the same would be for the Labrador.
Yes. So the Labrador has a cast threat. It basically makes animal be afraid of it, but it is in a very limited sense. So basically, we want to make no, not at all like the player. It is an entity in the world, right? It would be weird if it ran up to another animal, then basically that other animal didn't react at all. Right? You expect another animal to react to your dog, but you don't want your dog to be like walking around and like animals 100 meters away, or even 50, or even 25 meters away, going like, oh no, a dog, because that would make it too difficult to use, right? So it does affect other animals, all animals, but it does so in a very limited sphere around itself. Basically, the dog needs to walk up to an animal to make it to put it into flee or anything.
So, Chad, where that will really affect you, and just to translate that into our playing terms, lay your dog down when you're in a blind and the birds are landing around you. Right?
Yes. Yeah. But you don't need to be worried that the dog is going to be scaring away animals that are too far from you.
Right. That's good.
It's pretty stealthy.
Good answers.
Yep.
Like I said, that was one that I did broach on before.
Yes.
But it's always nice to revisit. Man, I got to tell you, I love that these, I mean, this is a little off topic, but the fact that the birds do not respond to the hunting pressure was a big change. I remember back when we had to worry about that. It was quite a difference. And, whoa, get it? I think I hit him. Yeah. Because look at that map. Can you see that? I know you're on a delay, but...
Yeah, I have a... Yeah, that's...
Hirschfeld Picasso here for you, my friend. We're just painting it up, and I'm only casually shooting. I'm not really hunting. I'm more focused on our conversation. I know a lot of our folks out there, this is one that they appreciate, just absolutely slaying on them. I was going to go to Revan Tooley. Now, I know that, you know, all the devs, you guys all have your play tests on the regular. I see you guys out there testing everything and going back and even just playing the game. Is there a particular... this is a tough one to answer. Do you have a favorite reserve? Your personal.
I have a sweet spot for Silver Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah. It was one of my earlier reserve when I worked on the team, so
Okay.
it's like because it was early for me. Yes, I did the first home range painting, so like where the animals are. It's been redone, made better since then. But yeah, I had a lot of like ideas about how the animals should move and how many animals they were. I know some people thought it was like a shooting gallery. That was basically my fault in the beginning.
Oh no, it was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't say fault. That was that's by far one of the most popular maps for the community.
Yeah, semi-intentional. Again, you know, closing my eyes and throwing a dart to the yeah.
Hey, you did a great job on that one. I didn't realize that was your first reserve with us.
It was, yes.
My
it
friend,
was my first reserve.
You've been here through some greatness. That is for sure. Because I'll tell you, that Silver Ridge Peaks, Revan Tooley, Emerald Coast, the favorites. Those would be, I would say, almost everybody's top three. I mean, it'll differ. There's still a lot of folks love some of the classics like Medved and such, but those are just...
I mean, we've done a lot of work the last years where we basically looked at our old reserve and done backfilling and try to bring everything up to stuff like Medved had too few animals. We just looked at them like, how do we increase, like how do we make sure that people who bought this content really is happy with it? So I mean, we do look at how make sure that what we put out is still, I mean, we improve ourselves as we go forward. Like every year we're trying to do better, right? So the things that we left behind years ago, trying to make sure that that's still up to snuff and people can enjoy those things. So yeah, I'm happy those are still good maps and people enjoy them.
That is fantastic to hear. They do, guaranteed. I can tell you from my own personal experiences in the community. It's great to see everybody has a favorite, and often it seems to be based on their location, where they hunt, or where they, you know, like where they dream to hunt, and that differs for everybody. And you know, we could talk. There could be a whole other stream where you could come and join me. We could talk about map design and reserve choices, and we'll try not to go into all that right now because I know that that's very involved chat. I'm telling you. We could talk for hours about that one, but you know, yeah, it really was.
Yeah, one thing that I mean, our map designer, world designers, and I mean, we do a lot of research to make sure that it represents or is authentic to where we are going. But some things that I love to read in feedback is when somebody that lives in the location we're at basically says, when I walk out, this feels like my backyard. Like the sounds are the same, the flowers are the same. That just brings me so much joy. Because I mean, we do a lot of research to make sure that's true, right? And it's some of the. I mean, I've never been to Australia. I have never been to Patagonia, right? But the research that our team does to make sure that it feels that way, and you go into that, and then somebody that lives there says, "Yeah, this is like my backyard." Incredible pride. Like we get so happy. Like this is yeah.
Big time, and I love to hear that too. But I love hearing our devs say this, right? You guys all know me. You know how passionate I am about it. Now you're seeing that passion runs through the entire company. It's a big eye opener, I think, for some. They really do. A lot of folks seem to think, Arshak, that you should just do this, or you should just do that, or just put this in the game, just put that in the game, without realizing the amount of work that goes into something, and not just the work, but the brain space. I mean, I've seen you guys working on this stuff, and I mean, it takes over your world. You're living and breathing this because you want to do a good job, you know. I think our community has a chance at seeing some of that right now. I love it.
Yeah, and I mean it's a simulation game. It's arcadey. Everybody kind of has their own. Everybody hunts in their own way. Everybody, you know, when they go out, they use different equipment. They see animals differently. So it's a as a designer like me, it's an interesting challenge. It's a hard challenge to make sure that we're trying to cover all our bases. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we kind of mess up when we forget something. But it is because there's so much design space. There's so much things that you could do in real life, right? When you go out hunting, there's a different million ways you could equip yourself, or the things you how you use your equipment. Like somebody holds their weapon like this, somebody holds their weapon like that. They use these bullets, that bullets, right? So when we're researching, we're trying to look at all that and building like a mind map of like, okay, this is real life. How do we represent this in the game? Right? How do we make sure that that kind of the space of everybody is? I mean, naturally we can't do everything, but how do we translate real life, different types of hunting? Like people in one country hunt this way, people in another country hunt that way. How do we make that work in our game? That's the challenge, right? That's the meat and potatoes of the challenge we face.
Right. Yeah.
You might use a retriever dog. Somebody might use some other type of dog, right? So yeah.
Well, having all those different options is really where we're at now. Like I remember 7 years ago, we didn't have any of this.
No.
Like the fact that I'm watching a dog right now go and collect my geese and lay them in this beautifully neat pile down here. I mean, it's just
you're doing oh wow,
fantastic. I'm just absolutely playing around here. This is just some of the fun you can have. This is just the goose hunting, which has long been a favorite of mine. I love sitting in a field. I do sit in a tripod instead of sitting in the proper blind because I like the elevation. I like to get up and see it. Chad, I see so many questions that honestly, it's not that I'm ignoring you, but I do we have a chance of getting this or that or the other? Yes, there's a very good chance. And that comes down to your feedback and that we see in the requests from the community, which is how, honestly, a lot of this stuff comes to be, like the dogs. And that came from the community's asks. So stuff and questions like that, it's honestly, it's not that I'm ignoring you, my friends, but put that into the Discord for our devs to be able to go over and peruse and take a look at. But, any chance on grid line? Oh, actually, that's not any chance on grid lines on the maps. Again,
yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
I'm reading chat as well. I'm not ignoring it either. I'm reading all of it. It's just, there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that can be said, things that we try to do. But grid lines is an interesting one. I'll take a note of that one. That'd be helpful.
It would actually.
Yeah.
That falls under the quality of life stuff, right? And we go back and we review a lot of this stuff too, even you guys in here, especially when we have one of our feedback sessions. So it's great to see. It is. Anywhere on respawn issues? I'm not aware of any issues. Not much skill. If you are experiencing something, please submit a ticket to our support. Greatly appreciate that. Jumping into Discord, you might even find some help as to what's going on with your game. Skadoosh. Oh, I could do this all day. Really good. Oh, goodness. If you're just joining us, we are at the end of the stream. Welcome. Nice to have you here, Andrew. Welcome. We've had a lot of fun here today. We've really talked about some interesting stuff. And if you did miss it, you'll want to go back and restart the VOD at the end of the stream so that you can kind of not miss out on anything that we touch base on. But we've covered quite a bit. And I think really the biggest takeaway here today, you guys, is other than meeting Arshak himself and actually getting him out, and hopefully he's had a lot of fun. He'll want to come out again and hang out with us because I know I've had a blast here. But getting the insights that he's had, I guess it's just so valuable. It's so valuable for us, Arshak, to be able to hear this straight from your mouth. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Like, you really.
It's been fun.
I know you're a busy man, and our paths almost crossed when I was in Sweden, but we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Streams are too short, 100%. Guys, There's so many great questions. I don't want any of them missed. Please make sure to head to the Discord if we haven't addressed any of them. Put them into the feedback. You heard it from Arshak here earlier. They absolutely spend their time not just reading these, but logging these ideas. You know, it's that's got to be super valuable to the team, right? Having that direct link and feedback. Not a lot of places do this.
100%. Go in, write your thoughts, vote on other thoughts you think are good. Just, you know, I read them personally. So a big thumbs up when people do that. So please continue with that.
Thank you for telling them that. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I am always telling them how often you guys are watching and reading the Discord. But that right there it is, my friends. You know, nothing is getting missed. Lots of thank yous coming in for all the hard work. And Arshak, I can't be there to shake everybody's hand, but I would appreciate it greatly if tomorrow morning when you head into that office, if you walk around there and shake all of our devs' hands and say Jaxie and the community are so grateful for all of the hard work and energies that each and every one of you have put into this. Arshak, you're a legend, my friend.
I will. Yes.
Cool. Thank you for joining
Thank
me.
you for having me, guys.
Let's do it again soon, hey?
Yep, of course.
Beautiful. Right on. You guys, huge round of applause. Thank you to everybody at EW, to Mr. Arshak for taking his time, and thank you to all of you for making this yet another very enjoyable release. Let us know your thoughts and everything in the Discord. Of course, we're all over the socials. Make sure you're following us in all of the important places. What are the important places? All of them. Don't miss out. We'll see you guys again very, very soon. We're back tomorrow for a little bit of a fish. So come and join me, and I'll see you guys all then. We'll talk soon, Arshak. Thank you, my man.
Bye-bye, guys.